Hi, welcome to Brief by Beaton. Lori Lightfoot recently lost her election bid to return as mayor of Chicago. The culprit? Racism and sexism, apparently. Automatically blaming racism and sexism is all too common these days. The Democrats have been doing it for every election they've lost in the last 10 years. Because remember, when you want to get votes, and votes come from people, it's a good idea to call those people awful racists. I know that when someone levels a baseless insult at me, I'm more inclined to do them a favor. Well, I wasn't going to help you move, but then you called me a piece of shit. So, which end of the couch should I take? Lightfoot was running for re-election. That re-part, very important. That means that she was already elected. So either the people who elected her before all of a sudden became racist sexists, or somebody imported a bunch of racists and sexists to the city of Chicago in hopes of overthrowing Lightfoot. Can you see how that sounds ridiculous? She seems to have a little bit of Jussie Smollett syndrome, whereas the normally Democratic voting city of Chicago all of a sudden becomes overrun by ultra-MAGA Republicans whose only goal is to destroy your beautiful, peaceful night alone with your cold-cut combo. There is a third possibility. Lightfoot was a bad mayor. I know. What are you saying, Nick? But let's give it a little more analysis than Lightfoot herself did. 2.5 months into COVID, Lightfoot held a press conference where she threatened to throw people going to parties into jail. Lots of politicians were pretty nuts at the beginning of COVID, but it's still not a good look. Especially when you don't practice what you preach. Because in 2021, Lightfoot was seen at a basketball game in a stadium full of people taking a picture with her mask off, despite her own mandatory mask policies. Because we all know, scientifically speaking, that COVID was only transmissible between people who weren't taking photo ops. But her main downfall? Crime. In the time that Lightfoot was mayor, crime rose 33%. Which is why it's so ironically funny that she threatened to throw people who partied during the pandemic in jail. Lori, you have clearly demonstrated you are not capable of throwing anyone into jail. Lightfoot blaming racism and sexism for not getting elected is laughable. She was the incumbent. The incumbent mayor has not lost an election in Chicago in 4 decades. Fuck white privilege. You had incumbent privilege. And if you still think you should have got more votes, maybe you could have. Maybe you should have. And you just didn't because the people who would have voted for you were murdered.